everybody. Thanks for joining Tpull's Corner. I'm your host, Travis, and we are on, what day are we on of the month? It's day 14 of Evergreen Month. And Evergreen Month is where we focus on the Wizards of the Coast terms, the mechanics that they call Evergreen that they use and reuse. And today's subject is cycling. And I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you a deck that my son created. He's 9 now. I think he was 8 when he created this. And he likes to make decks come up with concepts, but then he doesn't want to play them. He wants me to go play them and make them better. I don't know how much I changed this, but the concept of cycling is fairly simple. We'll go over the overall deck statistics for you real quick. 19 creatures, 21 lands, 3.2 average mana. It's got a few big ones in there, big creatures and spells. So cycling is you pay the cost that is listed under the cycling charge to discard the card and draw another card. So here we have Flourishing Fox. You see cycling 1. So you don't play the card. If you're brand new to Magic, you haven't seen this before, you put this card into your discard pile after you tap your land for 1 mana, and you get to draw an entirely new card. If Flourishing Fox is on the battlefield, you follow the instructions. Whenever you cycle another card, a different card, you get to put a +1/+1 counter on Flourishing Fox. And let's see, we got Blazing Volley to do 1 damage to creatures. I usually have that whenever I have a red source to take out any 1/1 creatures, like Scoot decks. Footfall Crater, this enchants the land, then you can give a target trample and haste until the end of the turn. Drannith Healer, whenever you cycle another card, you gain 1 life. Valiant Rescuer, every time you cycle another card for the first time each turn, you create a 1/1 White Human Soldier creature token. Cathartic Reunion, 2 copies of that to just throw away cards and draw some more. 2 Go for Bloods, where you have 1 target creature fight another creature you don't control. 1 Aureate of Mountains Blaze. This is not a cycling card. This is actually a card that you can spend once you get down. It's a 1/3 nymph. You can spend 3 mana to discard a card you don't want and draw another card. Raking Claws, this gives a target creature double strike until the end of the turn. Most of these have cycling on them. Scorching Dragonfire to exile a target creature. 3 Shredded Sails to deal damage to artifacts. Destroy the artifacts entirely, or deal damage to creatures with flying. Because we have red and white, we can play with Savai Thundermane. Whenever we cycle a card, we can pay 2 mana if we have the spare mana. And then when we do, it deals 2 damage to target creature, and we gain 2 life. 3 Splendor Mares, 3/3 Unicorn with lifelink. If we cycle it instead of play it, we can put a lifelink counter on another target creature that's already on the battlefield. And some different crystals for the different land manas that we can get. Savai Crystal, 4 copies of Ketria Crystal, 1 Indatha Crystal. And these we mostly plan to cycle, but we might need them early on for some mana help. 2 copies of True Love's Kiss to get rid of artifacts or enchantments and allow us to draw a card. The most popular card that's usually associated with cycling decks, Zenith Flare, deals X damage to any target, and you gain X life, where X is the number of cards with a cycling ability in your graveyard. So most cycle decks are usually featured around the idea of dumping 10 to 20 cards in the graveyard and then hitting your opponent directly in the face. We do have 4 copies of that. 2 copies of Coordinated Charge to give creatures a +2/+1 bonus, or recycle it. Rooting Moloch. And now here, this one's a slightly different. When he enters the battlefield, we can exile a target card that has cycling from my graveyard. And then, until the end of the turn, I can actually play that card. 2 Lava Serpents. This is, we're getting into the expensive cards. 5/5 Serpent with haste. 3 copies of Sanctuary Smasher. First strike, 6/4 creature, but if we cycle it, we can put a first strike counter on a target creature. Only 1 copy of this in my inventory. Yadaro the Wandering Monster. Costs 7. We usually don't pay for him straight out. We usually use the cycling ability. But if we manage to cycle him, he's got a little bit of a special ability. When we cycle him, he goes back into the library. And if we manage to cycle him 4 more times during the game, once we hit that 4th time, he goes straight onto the battlefield instead. The rest is lands. We do have a Ketria Triome and an Indatha Triome. And that'll give us just about all that we need. So again, this is 65 cards. It's my son's deck. We're going to take it out for a spin and see how it does. If you like these videos so far, if you're liking what you see, please click like. If you want to subscribe, hit subscribe. We'll take either. We'll take both. We'll take anything. Give us something, though. Okay, here we go. Alright, that's enough to get us started. Cycling decks can be kind of lazy, so I think they have a bad rap because you can play a card or you can cycle it. And we're gonna play it. And let's see. We don't have anything in the graveyard yet, and we don't have enough mana for that one. So we'll just attack. If he wants to do a trade, that's fine. He does not. It's very strange to see them sit there and do absolutely nothing. Okay. Is that because he wasn't prepared to face a cycling deck? Or maybe land problems? We don't know. I could say he's afraid of cycling, but I think we'll just go right into another battle. So there is a good standard cycling deck that's out there that also has blue and black cards in it, but people usually don't play the blue and black cards. It's changed up a little bit recently. They've come up with some new cards that help cycling become better. But in the old days, it was just you'd play the blue and black cards just for their cycling ability. You'd throw them right into the graveyard with no. You wouldn't even have blue and black mana in your hand in your entire deck. And it was all about filling up the graveyard just to cast a Zenith Flare, and that was all there was to it. I think the more modern, updated cycling deck is a little bit more complicated than that, but usually it's kind of simplistic. You're just trying not to let them throw their Zenith Flares at you. If you got nothing better to do, I guess, and you want to climb up the ranks, I think it's slightly better than 50% winning percentage right now. I actually have a harder time probably than most when you're dealing with these types of decks. Because I hate throwing my cards away. For me, usually when I build my decks, every card is valuable, every card has a purpose, there's a reason it's there, and cycling doesn't really help him much, does it? And we can't cast that spell, so we'll cycle while we can. And do we want to put that down, or do we want to cast it as a spell? Cast it as a spell. Are we already in trouble? Let's see, we can cycle just about anything we want. Okay, instead of cycling, how about we get rid of a couple of things and see if we get anything better. Nothing that really helps us all that much. Not against this type of stuff. Are you saying good game because you're going to kill me this turn? You just say, like to say good game every time you use a Bone Crusher Giant on me. Turn 4, and he has 3 Bone Crusher Giants. And what can we do against that? Anything? No. We can exile our own stuff. And all it does is give us land. that's pretty much game. Alright, the first one was too easy and didn't count. This one showed us what happens when you draw nothing but land. We'll see what the next one shows. I like that name, Click and Climb. Okay, we go first. It's always handy to have a Zenith Flare already in your hand, rather than worry about digging for it later. I think I'm going to have enough time to do my OCD thing. That's a little too early for 2 Zenith Flares. I'm going to have to hold on to those for a while. And will we last long enough against a red aggro deck? Not if he's just going to kill me all the time. Let's see. 3 to put him down. And we'll just put the Triumph in there. You can only use the red, really. We just would like the opportunity maybe to put the Sanctuary Smasher down as an actual creature instead of cycling it. Okay, let's see. There's another land. There's another creature. And he doesn't want to let us gain life. That's what Rolling Vortex is for. He's just got to remember to pay the mana to prevent my life gain. Which he does. So there's definitely a clock if we don't get rid of that enchantment. He hasn't been able to use Robber of the Rich's power because I've been able to keep fewer cards in my hand. Alright, that is perfect timing. Oops, hang on. Let's make sure that I'm not cycling, that I'm hitting the right option. There we go. Target creature with flying. There you go. Then we go there. And he's tapped out, so I gain life this time, right? It feels good to gain life. And you know what we'll also do? Can I do this? Do I have enough mana? I don't have enough mana. Why was it lit up? Oh, that was Sanctuary that was lit up. I was going to say, I didn't think I had enough extra energy for that. I'm willing to get rid of a Zenith Flare on a creature. Copying a spell. Gross. 2 spells, 2 creatures. I can't really stop that, can I? But you tapped out, so I'm going to use this to get rid of you and gain life. Annex, huh? I still need one more land for Sanctuary Smasher. I guess we'll just play him for now. And we'll keep the first strike as a little surprise. Gross. Okay, I haven't had a Crowing Moor used on me too often. Let's see. Creatures attack each combat if able, and each tapped creature does damage equal to itself. Okay, so if I put this guy down, I've got a blocker against Annex. I'm not taking 6 points of damage. And he had first strike, so that's nice. Okay, there's no reason to keep the land hidden away, right? Okay, each tapped creature deals damage to itself. I have to attack, is that right? I'm gonna have to attack no matter what. He's tapped out. Alright, if I gotta do it, I gotta do it. These two can't block, and my own creature can't block. Are you gonna take... You gonna take it? You gonna take it? That was a mistake. Did you forget what deck you're playing against? Zenith Flare. And so that's the danger of the cycling deck, is even when you're aware of Zenith Flare, if you don't get to use it at the very beginning, or you don't build up a lot of cards in your graveyard, you know, I only built up 4, but that was all I needed because I managed to get them down with the other cards. Again, this is not the standard deck. Most cycling decks don't have Sanctuary Smasher in it. This is the one my son put together, and it does okay. Before we go back in, let's see, this is 65 cards. I forget how much of this is my son and how much of this is me, but the issue is, with a lot of these cycling cards, in order to get the benefit, you have to actually cycle the card. So, Cathartic Reunion may not make as much sense in this as in others. It could be because of the lands, but you know what, we've only got 19 regular lands, and the rest is the crystals and the triomes. And so we're not going to have a lot of spare lands to throw away. So I want to tinker with this a tiny bit. I want to throw away that. We probably have one too many of the crystals. So let's get rid of a couple of those. And we won't be able to throw away a lot of these others. We could cycle them, but I'm not seeing where we could use Cathartic Reunion as much, so I'm just going to get rid of it entirely. So that'll get us down to 61 cards. And if we get really tight, you know, how much do we really need all of the crystals? Let's go down to there. That gives us a nice tight 60 cards. We still got 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24 sources of mana if we want to use them all. And if we had maybe fewer cycling cards and more land already, then we could have Cathartic Reunion, but I don't think it's going to be useful. So, I know we've been winning, but cycling is an iffy deck to begin with, even though the standard version is still got a winning percentage in the meta. And if you want to go look at YouTube, there's plenty of examples of the original cycling deck, and there's a modified one that's been put out more recently with the recent expansions. There's a couple of cards that you can put in there, and you can actually play them as opposed to just cycle them all the time. So it's a little bit more playable with the modern version. But I think both of those versions are easily found on YouTube, probably, I'm guessing. I haven't gone to do a specific search. But so I wanted to give you guys a bit of variety. This deck that my son made is holding up pretty nicely so far. And where did everybody go, and how come we can't get a match? Okay, this is kind of a bad. We can't play any cards. You know what? Let's go ahead. Holko has 140 cards. Enter tapped? Sure. We're just going to cycle everything, right? Cycling has a number of vulnerabilities. Discard can get to you pretty good. Here, there's lifelink. Life can get to you pretty good. Let's see. What can we cycle? And I think I don't play it that much because it's not a favorite of mine. Cycling's based on throwing away cards, and I always want to keep mine. I always want to use mine instead of cycle them. Like this, for example, you do need to put some creatures down when they've gotten some creatures. So it's going to be a while before we can build up our cycling charge, so to speak, for Zenith Flare, which means it's going to be a long battle. I wonder if he's having land problems. Why he didn't put his stuff away. Yeah, let's risk it. Let's see what... You got some kind of buff that'll trade us off? Or something that'll keep us down? You took it. That's good, because when you're up against a lifelink deck, you really need to keep them under 20 to have a chance to win. Especially if you have to rely on the crutch of Zenith Flare. But yeah, discard can kill you. Emptying your graveyard can kill you. With those kind of... I mean, just one good card to empty your graveyard and you're dead in the water. Let's see. We could put down Fox. We could put down Valiant Rescuer. We could cycle this one. Nice. He likes it. He thinks it was nice too. Yeah. He scooped. Did he see the Sanctuary Smasher before he scooped? You see, it's tough with he's putting down cheap cards. He's not really stuck per se. He managed to put down 3 cards, but only 2 lands. He must have been getting stuck on land, and that could be part of the function of him having such a big number of cards. So, as much as I'd like to give my son's deck all the credit, there may have been other things at play here. So I'm not sure how playable this specific deck is, but you'll have the deck list down below in the text if you want to have some fun with it and try it around with it. I still don't think that I play the cycling aspect of it to its fullest. I still want to retain and use my cards, so I probably stay away from this for the most part. For the wrap-up, I guess I should say, I am working on a different type of cycling deck that's sort of a reanimator cycling deck. It's a very large deck right now. It's got like 206 cards. It's a little unwieldy, so I want to experiment with it a little bit more before it's ready for prime time. But if I do get that going, I'll put that deck together and I'll show that to you. But I think this is a good place to leave it for tonight. So if you guys have fun watching these, go ahead and click the like for us if you would, and we'll be back tomorrow with another new video for Evergreen Month. Thanks for joining us. Have a good one.